A year ago, I began filming my new movie, Am I Racist? The goal of the movie was to go deep undercover into the world of DEI and show how bad the problem really is. There'll be some moments in the movie that just seem too crazy to be real, but I assure you it is all real and it has been a real problem for a while. To prove to you how big of an issue DEI is, I wanted to take you on a trip down memory lane of some recent real-world examples of anti-white racism. But before we do that, check out the trailer for Am I Racist? Visit amiracist.com to check out showings and buy tickets at a theater near you. Now enjoy the trailer.
Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up, I never thought much about race. It never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
If I'm gonna sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover.
They gon' say I'm racist.
Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certification.
And what you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. This is more for you in this field.
Is America inherently racist?
The word inherent is challenging there.
I want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah, this country is a piece of
White.
folks,
White
trash,
white supremacy.
white woman, white boy.
Is there a black person around here?
What's
This black person right here, does he not
They gon'
exist?
say I'm racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Matt.
Just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They gon' say you racist.
In theaters now, rated PG-13.
Fox News headline, Buffalo police arrested 10 for looting amid the deadly winter storm. Officials in Buffalo, New York said Wednesday, this was last Wednesday night, that 10 arrests have been made in response to looting following a deadly winter storm that ravaged the region over the Christmas weekend. The Buffalo Police Department said the arrests were conducted by its newly created anti-looting task force. The group was formed after reports of break-ins to businesses as the storm halted daily life in the city. On Tuesday, Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia warned that looting would not be tolerated. This isn't people stealing food and medicine and diapers, he said. They're destroying stores, they're stealing television, couches, whatever else they can get their hands on. They're opportunists, he said at a press conference. That was for the major winter storm last week. And we had, we got down to negative temperatures here in Nashville, -2 degrees. Other places, the weather was even worse, and this led to looting. But don't worry, because what we learned from some leftists on TikTok is that the looters had every right to do what they did. They had every right to exploit and take advantage of this situation, as they so often do. And here's one TikToker explaining why.
I live in Buffalo. This is a 33. This is my car that's been buried in all of this snow since last week. This is outside my granny's house, a tree that's been there since my aunt was a child. Safe to say that it's a out there, right? Here go y'all goblins who don't even live in the city. Which, by the way, the Q-tip people are the last ones to ever talk about somebody stealing anything. Y'all wouldn't be in this country had it not been for y'all stealing it. Y'all are more focused on people looting and trying to get necessities and things that they need. And yes, a TV is a necessity thing. Than the people who are literally freezing to death in their own home, freezing to death outside because this city did not shut down the way it should have. Byron Brown want to get on here and talk about, we told y'all, we knew this was going to happen, but why didn't you close businesses when you should have? Why you got everybody rushing home at noon when the storm is starting and now people are literally dying in their cars because they can't see? And yeah, it was that bad. I went out like at 8 o'clock in the morning before it started, and by the time I got out of Wegmans, right, it was like maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock, and it was bad. And that was just the beginning of the storm. So if you don't live in Buffalo, even if you do live in Buffalo, you feel like you're better than because people are out here stealing and you would never. First of all, if you are a Mayo monster, that is how your ancestors got everything, from stealing. People are out here trying to get toilet paper. People are out here trying to get, just small little food from Family Dollar, and y'all got capitalism. Steal everything that you need, babe.
Mayo monster, she calls white people. Which I take exception to for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that I hate mayo. I was just calling for the execution of people that enjoy mayo the other day. So this is no different from what we hear from the left all the time. Infamously, AOC, of course, said that looters are just out stealing bread to feed their families. And yet, after the looters, as we heard from the police chief, after the looters run through a Walmart or Dollar General or whatever it is that they're stealing from, the bread aisle is always conspicuously left untouched. Not only are they not stealing bread, but it's like the one thing they won't steal. The one thing that they won't steal are the necessities. Those are all of the sections of the store that are left untouched. And that's because these are not starving people who are out desperately scrounging for resources. That's not what this is. These are vultures, scavengers, victimizing their own community, exploiting a crisis to steal from their own neighbors. The businesses that provide necessities to their own communities, they are exploiting and victimizing. And this is also something to keep in mind, when you hear about so-called food deserts. Okay, what is a food desert? Well, you think a food desert would be like an actual desert is a food desert. It's one of the things that defines a desert. There are not a lot of resources of that kind. But that's not what it means when we hear about food deserts. This is an effort on the left. They've come up with this terminology, and it's an effort to support the claim that there is still this systemic racism against black people in the United States. They have to get increasingly desperate when they're trying to find and locate this mythical phantom systemic racism, and so they end up talking about things like food deserts. And so a food desert is places, especially in inner city, often in black communities, where there are not as many stores and restaurants and grocery stores and that sort of thing as there are in other parts of the city. Although, even if there were none at all, if you're living in a city, you're never going to be more than like a 5-minute Uber ride away from some kind of store. But if there are these food deserts, if there are grocery stores and restaurants that are shutting down shop in these communities or refusing to open up in the first place, maybe this is part of the reason why. I mean, when you prey upon the businesses in your community and you loot and rob them, then they're going to go away. And then other potential business owners are going to look, and if you've got someone who wants to open up their own restaurant, their own grocery store, and they're thinking of where should I put it, they're going to tend to put it in safer places where they're less likely to be victimized in this way. Seems rather obvious, I realize, but it still needs to be pointed out. Listen up, folks. We talk a big game about traditional values, but how many of us are actually walking the walk when it comes to prayer? Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. Most of us are about as consistent with our prayer life as Congress is with balancing the budget. We've all been there. Prayer feels so daunting to get started. We end up not doing it at all. We make excuses. I'm too busy. I don't know how. I'll do it tomorrow. List goes on. Enter Hallow, the #1 prayer and meditation app. And they're starting a new series called How to Pray. Here's the deal. 2 weeks, daily sessions, no fluff, with guided prayers being led by guests like Mark Wahlberg and Jonathan Rumi. You'll learn how to pray with scripture while getting familiar with prayers that have been around in church history for centuries. They've got everything from prayers to help your kids navigate the chaos of a new school year to prayers for athletes that are looking to up their mental game. Look, whether you're a prayer novice or a seasoned pro, Hallow's got something for you. Who knows, you might even become a slightly less annoying person to be around. Miracles do happen, so do yourself a favor, put down the remote, close Twitter, and download Hallow at hallow.com/Matt Walsh for an exclusive 3-month free trial. That's hallow.com/Matt Walsh for an exclusive 3-month free trial of all 10,000 plus prayers and meditations. The Will Smith slap heard around the world continues to draw reactions, and it's pretty clear now that at least on the race hustling left, the narrative is that he's entitled to respond that way because he's a black man in defense of his wife, and so he's, I guess, entitled to hit anybody that he wants to hit. And also, what we're being told, and here's one viral video from someone who's making this point that if you're a white person, you really shouldn't be talking about this at all. It's not your place. Like, Will Smith can walk up on stage during the Oscars and physically assault someone, and he's entitled to do that. But if you're a white person, you're not entitled to even have an opinion about it. At least that's what we're told. Listen.
Why what happened at the Oscars is not something white people need to speak on right away. There is so much nuance and complexity and layers that you will not be able to understand through your white experience without education and listening to specifically black women, which we all know many people don't. So when you share your perspective or your education on what you perceive to have happened last night, it's coming through your white lens, which has you on a place of moral high ground, lacks understanding of black trauma, has such an emphasis on this binary of who is good or who is bad, centers violence, only actually continues to minimize black women and their pain, and most annoyingly, continues to center yourself. That really just is not your business. So just take some time, take a minute. You don't have to respond right away. Really try and look at the entire situation before you speak on the shiny, easy grab. Because what you fail to see through your white lens was the actual violence occurring. The continued violence that is ableism and that is misogynoir. The continued violence that is...
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, just let us know, whoever you are, when we're allowed to speak and have an opinion about this event that occurred and we all saw and everybody was talking about. Just let us know. We'll all shut up collectively and we'll wait for you, whoever you are on TikTok, because we're the entitled ones, right? We're the ones who are entitled. I mean, she's just instructing an entire race of people, letting us know the opinions we're allowed to have and not have, but we're entitled. Oh, no, and also, we're trying to make it about us, not her. She's not the one doing that. We're doing that. If you're wondering about this misogynoir term, and it's a new leftist buzzword every day, and this seems to be or at least every week. Every week there's a new one. This is the leftist buzz phrase of the week, and it's I just looked it up because that's not the first time I've heard it this week. Misogynoir is, according to Wikipedia, is misogyny directed towards black women where race and gender both play roles in bias. The term was coined by black feminist Moya Bailey in 2010, and now that's the other thing they do is like you take this term that just some random leftist came up with and like two people have ever heard in their lives, and then they just start like using it as if everyone is supposed to know what this gibberish means. But it's very effective because then people do exactly what I just did there. You look it up, like what does that mean? Okay, and then it enters into the lexicon. So if a black woman is the subject of alleged sexism, it's not good enough to just say misogyny like everybody else, so she gets her special label, which is misogynoir. And all this whole thing is very nuanced, the whole situation. Well, it's actually not nuanced at all. It's probably one of the least nuanced public events in recent memory. It was someone standing up at an award show and slapping another guy because they didn't like a joke that was being told. There's no nuance to it whatsoever. Very straightforward.
Black. If I don't say it, I'll pass out.